The following is a Kingfisher Media podcast.
People have asked me why I do this show, or who I do it for. I do it because it feels good to unpack my thoughts. But I also do it for the person who's having a panic attack but doesn't understand why. Who's backing down from an argument instead of standing their ground. Who's trying to figure out how to fill the shoes of a lost parent. Who's holding on to something they want but haven't appreciated. Who's setting boundaries. I do this for the person who's focused on the destination without appreciating the journey. Or taking too much responsibility in a conflict. Or fondly remembering their first love. Or looking for validation. Or explaining their love story to people who just won't understand. I do this for the person who's remembering the sacrifices their parents made. Who's learning to justify their opinions. Who's appreciating an important lesson learned. Or expressing themselves without reservation. I do this for the person who's growing out of their faith. Who's seeing the effort instead of the result. Who's realizing that they've missed the point. I do this for the person who's expressing gratitude towards someone who inspired them. Who's refusing to give up. Who's wanting to give when all they can do is receive. Who's telling their best friend how much they're loved. I do this for the person who's finding the meaning of life. Who's accepting their limitations. Who's saying they're okay when they're actually not. Who's choosing to make things right instead of apologizing. I do this for the person who's missing their grandfather. Who's making something out of nothing. Who's looking for the courage to say, I love you. I do this for the person who's softening their heart because there's more to the story than they realized. Who's writing a letter to their younger self. Who's going through some changes. Who's embracing their demons. Or falling in love. I do this for the person who's learning that they're more super than their heroes. Who's waking up from a profound dream. Who's following instead of leading. Who's getting comfortable with the passage of time. Or adjusting their attitude. I do this for the person who's mourning a loss. Or looking at themselves. Learning to accept criticism. Or trying one more time. I do it for you. If you have thoughts on this or anything else I've spoken about, send me an email. I'd love to hear about it.